So this morning, let's find out how strong or weak our credit infrastructure is. And we're having the conversation with Mr. Tunde Popoola. He's the chairman of Credit Bureau Association, joins us from here in Lagos. Mr. Popoola, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, I know it's been a while since we had you on the program, but the credit system in Nigeria seems to be getting a lot of attention. I've had some conversations about buy now, pay later, and all of this are supposed to be built on the credit infrastructure of Nigeria. But how would you rate our credit system in the last, let's say, 2 years, since the story started, at least, in the limelight? How strong or weak are we in that area?
Thank you very much. I think Nigeria has done very well in the last 2 to 3 years. We have significant improvement in access to credit in the last 2 to 3 years. If you recall, the credit infrastructure was very, very weak before the introduction of Credit Bureau into the Nigeria space in 2009. And even as of 2019, Credit Bureau coverage, which is like the total number of Nigerians who adult population who have access to credit and they have their information in the Credit Bureau, was very low at about 8% as of 2019. But as of 2025, where we are today, that figure has moved to 40%. In which case, about 50 million Nigerians have been captured, and businesses have been captured in the Credit Bureau database. And that speaks to significant rise in the number of, consumers and businesses that have access to credit over the last few years. You also realize that credit to the private sector has also moved significantly. In fact, at February this year, credit to private sector was about 75 trillion naira. That was significant. In just like July 2023, that figure was just about 56 trillion. So in the space of 1.5 years, we've seen that significant rise in mobilization of credit by the lenders from 56 trillion to 75 trillion over 1.5 years. That is a significant rise. Today, I'm very happy to also report that the issue of access to credit is gaining significant momentum. We have so many lenders in this space now. Apart from commercial banks that we know have traditional role of financial intermediation, which is to mobilize deposits and make their credit available to Nigerians. We also now have a lot of micro lenders, a lot of fintechs who are now in this space, giving a lot of access to Nigerians to have access to what we call consumer credit. So that is the situation we have today. That situation was highly influenced by the fact that the lending institutions now have reliable credit infrastructure, which is the Credit Bureau, where they can fetch information. And the credit infrastructure, the credit bureaus have also been up to their, living up to expectation by making sure that they have developed an array of products and services that can, stimulate lenders to be very confident to be able to have information they need to lend. They need to be able to source for credible people and businesses to give money to. The bureaus are available to do that, to help them to do that. They need to be able to provide applications that come for credit, and the bureaus are there with products to help them to do that. They also need to be able to monitor services, loans that they have granted. The credit bureaus are also there to help them. Even when they now have delinquencies or default, the credit bureau have products and services they have developed to be able to help them to access, to help them manage default and delinquencies. In the last few years, because of the enhancement in the IB infrastructure also, which is about the NIN and the BVN, these two means of identification have also helped to get as many people as possible to have unique identification. This is the issue we've been talking about for years, and I'm happy that now we are there. I must also commend the government for all the initiatives that they have brought to bear on access to credit for Nigerians. Now we have the credit credit to students, which is through the Nigerian Loan Fund. We have the Credit Corps, the Consumer Credit Corporation. We have a lot of intervention, initiatives on access to credit by the Bank of Industry, by SMEDAN, and by the central bank directly. So all of these playing together have helped us to begin to see that significant rise we are seeing in the number of businesses and the number of people who have access to credit, as well as in the volume and quantum of credit that we now see in the economy.
Yeah, interesting, and I'm so glad that you gave those numbers, Mr. Popoola. But we still hear stories of, the mindset concerning this. We know there are some parts of the country, I don't know if it's religious or just a tribe thing, but some people are averse to credits. They don't want to owe debt and all of that. I wonder if that has changed or we're still working on changing it.
Okay, so ordinarily, a lot of Nigerians don't like to go into credit. They look at credit issue with some level of negativity. But I believe that is changing now. And the why I said it's changing is also because of the influx of applications that we have seen that goes to lenders from Nigerians. Remember I told you now we have almost 50 million Nigerians on the database of Credit Bureau, which means that all these 50 million people have enjoyed one credit or the other. And this was significant if you look at it from where we were coming from 4 or 5 years ago. So, and I guess it also has to do with the awareness creation that a lot of these lenders are giving. It also has to do with, the ease with which people can now access credit. Now, because of varieties of applications or what you call apps, people can, on their phone, on their laptop, just have access to their account, and then they can initiate, processing of loan or application for loans, and within few minutes, most hours, they can have a feedback whether that is granted or not. So I guess the enhancement in the environment, in the infrastructural environment that makes it easy for people and for borrowers generally is also helping the situation that we have on ground. I must also say that banks, the drivers, fintech micro lenders are very ingenious in product development. And I think they have led the pack of lenders when we're talking about access to credit for consumers in particular in Nigeria. So the applications they are brought to bear, the infrastructure they've brought to support, the kind of data that they have been able to mine to be able to provide the customers and make it easy for them is helping the situation. There's a lot to do. There's still a lot to be done in that regard. But today, I think we have moved, and the awareness is catching up, and a lot of people no longer fear, going into credit.
So talking about the packages and accessibility, I do know that buy now, pay later is available for devices, for cars, and all of that. But, sometimes it does seem even that initial payment could also be difficult. I know it's also a way of ensuring or protecting businesses. Do we have enough? When you talk, I know you said that they are ingenious in putting together these packages, but do we have enough that's accessible to an average Nigerian?
Okay, very good question there. I think I want to see more. Where we are today, quite a lot of these loans go to small ticket transactions. A lot of these transactions have to do with just meeting immediate, funding needs. So people want to borrow 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. These are the crop of the high number of applications that we see. But where it comes to the core consumer loans, of access to loan for mortgage, for properties, for vehicle acquisition, and enhancing business, expanding and growing businesses. There's still a lot to be done there, and the reason is very simple. The average income for Nigeria is still very low. Today, if you want to buy a new vehicle, you know how much it is. Let's say you want to buy a Toyota Corolla, maybe you need about 40 or 50 million. And you have to pay this loan over 4 or 5 years. So that average monthly contribution may still be very high for a lot of people. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to mortgage loans as well. And of course, when you add the issue around interest rates, which is high on account of the environmental issues on inflation and price of cost of funds, you realize that there's still a lot to be done. And for me, these are the limiting factors that we are seeing. We need to be able to move this new tempo we are seeing from people just borrowing for for consumption, to be able to own assets, to be able to stimulate their small businesses, and so on and so forth. That's where I think we need to do a lot of work. And all of us, the government and the lenders, have a lot to do in this regard.
What do you think they can do? Because it sounds like things are expensive, and even these people who want to give this credit, they are also doing business. So what can be done? What do you think can be done to soften these very difficult parts?
Okay, so the government is trying to do some level of making special fund available with lower, package or moderated cost of fund interest rate, maybe single-digit interest rate, for instance. So a major issue has to do with cost of funds. So where we have incentives to drive down the cost of fund, the price of loans, it will help a lot of businesses and a lot of consumers to want to do that. Now, the other issue is to see how we can expand the tenor of the credit facility. Of the facilities. I give you an example of vehicles. So if somebody normally leasing of vehicles or acquisition of vehicle on through credits, repayment is meant to be around 4 or 5 years. So maybe we need to really repackage product along the line. I don't like to make it longer. We know the vehicle can last longer longer than 4 or 5 years if it's well maintained. So we have to look in that direction. As long as we cannot bring down the cost of the vehicle because of the devaluation of the currency and all the associated issues, what we can do is to see how we can make it a bit comfortable for those borrowers to repay over a period of time. The other thing is to find a way to enhance income of Nigerians. And I think government has done something in that regard. So it all speaks to how much do you earn and how much do you need to repay loans. As long as what you are earning is low, it becomes difficult for you to be able to really do much. But if there's a way to enhance the income of Nigerians, and there's a way we can come up to spread, enhance the tenor, extend the tenor of paying the loans, I think it will help to stimulate much more access to credit. It will encourage much more people to really want to go into it.
All right, sounds like it's something that should be done for almost everybody, but thank you so much for your time this morning. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of CRC Credit Bureau Limited, Mr. Tunde Popoola. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.